Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Comics News today for March 9th, 2020. Oh, goodness, coming into spring. We definitely got a bunch of news and things going on that we weren't expecting to have by March. I was assuming that a worldwide pandemic, which the WHO might have actually officially stated or not. I cannot believe how corrupt they are, and they don't seem to either be wise to it or they don't care. Either way, we're not here to talk about the coronavirus. We're here to talk about comic books, boy, and we got some really cool stuff. Happy to have all you guys.
Comics.
That's right, dude. We got happy to have all you guys in here with us. Of course, check out our links. Check out my Twitter if you guys want to be part of stuff. We did have someone spoke up about being on the drone record this week, so we'll probably have a new face there. So that's cool. If you want to be part of that, just get in touch with me and I'll put you through that process. But rock on, man. Now, I want to come over here and say hello to my guest first. Of course, you heard him pipe up. Is he that dirty uncle or is he that sexy uncle? I don't know. You decide. He's slick,
I'm that
Jimmy.
dirty, sexy uncle.
Oh, you got them both. We just call you, we call you naughty Jimmy, Jimmy from now on. That'll be better. But happy to have
I'll
him
go with
here,
that.
of
I'll roll with that.
course. Yeah, I know you are. Then, of course, who needs no introduction, but I shall give him one anyway. Standing upon the tallest building in your city, you see a light in the night. It's bright. It makes the dim streets lit. As he looks down upon the unworthy and decides who amongst the whingers and whiners shall be cooked, it is Thundero.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody.
Did you like that?
Chester,
I put a little sexy
my
on it.
main man Chester, he just does it great every time. Every time,
Thank you.
there's no complaints.
Thank you. Yeah. How long you think it's going to take before I can't do one though?
I don't know. We'll find out, though. We will find out.
Yeah, because that's all off the top of my head, guys. That's not written down. But I'm going to hit my wall eventually, I would assume.
Oh,
But
I don't
nevertheless,
know, man. Sitting upon his throne, upon the bubbling
yeah.
cauldron of Mount Doom.
There
That's
you go.
you just can keep doing it.
You can. You're right. You're right. But I try to use themes recently. I try to use them as like my sick dog. So you know. But nevertheless, we do have some interesting news to come in. Let me come over and say hello to chat real quick. See who's in here. Do keep in mind, we really hope you guys hit that share button. Let your family and friends and extended community know what's going on so they come over here and be with us live. We got Roger, we got Dave, and we got Ara in here. We got Josh as well. How you doing, Josh? So definitely hit that share button, guys, so we get more people in here. And I have to say to all of you who come in every day, thank you very much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, guys. I mean, when we do a video and I come back and I see the 60, 70, 80 people watched it back, it's the most amazing thing. Now, I understand it's that we're not a big channel and all, but that's pretty cool to me, man. And
hmm
I thank you all very much for being part of what we do here.
Y'all in a big channel, but y'all ball a channel.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, dude. It's pretty cool. I mean, when I come back and I see that, I'm like, really? That's cool, man. So I appreciate it, guys, and I hope you're enjoying the content. And keep in mind, we're not children here, or at least I'm not. So if you have any suggestions or comics or critiques or anything like that, just hit me up and let me know. I'm all ears. Now that doesn't mean I will obey, but I'll at least listen. Right, Thunder?
Well, no. Yeah, for real. I don't mind. I mean, as long as you're not, coming in here calling us all kinds of MFers or something, um, I don't really particularly care. Yeah, just let us know. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
What do you think? Yeah, absolutely. But
Don't tell me what you feel. I don't care about your feelings. Tell me
that's
what you
true.
think.
That's true. We're not liberals here, so we don't really care about your feelings. We care about the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
That's
Oh
right.
goodness! And we were just talking about that show the other day. But speaking of shows and movies and stuff like that, we have sad news on our first announcement. So let's just go ahead and get right to it. Because there's no dilly dallying here. Um, yeah, this sucks pretty much, but we did have a death. We had someone pass away. We had a legend pass away, actually. And I don't know that anyone would argue that. Max von Sydow, The Exorcist, Seven Seal, and Game of Thrones star, dies at 90. Now, 90 is good long life. He's been around forever. You've all seen him in various things. This article right here is just kind of, giving the information and talk about what he did. They don't really, I don't know if they say in here what he died from, and I don't think it matters at 90, really.
Yeah,
It was his time. Certainly safe travels, sir. But I want to take a little bit a minute, if you guys don't mind, with Max von Sydow, because he's just one of those ultra cool actors who's done everything, and uh, is just a really cool guy. Now, before I jump into his IMDb here, I kind of wanted to get a shout out from you guys in the chat, but also our guest here on the panel. What is your favorite thing from Max? Now, I was talking with the guys before in the pre-show, and the first thing that came to my mind, interestingly, of all the stuff he's done, was Ming the Merciless. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know why, but it is because I mean he just absolutely owned that dude, as he did everything else. But what do you think, Slick? What's the movie that pops in your head first with Max?
Um, the thing that I always remember, I believe that he was in this. He was Mr. Elsinore in Great White North. I'm blanking on name. Strange Brew.
Strange
Strange
Brew.
Brew.
Yes, you're right.
Yes.
I do believe he was. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And
Strange Brew.
I used to quote that stuff in high school all the time, and I just remember him being
Are you a secret Canadian?
uh, no way. What are you talking about?
No.
What's
Hey.
this all
All
about?
right. All right. All right. Cool. How about you, Thundera? What's your favorite Max character?
definitely. Apparently, this was his name, Lor San Tekka.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. That was apparently the name of his character in Empire or Force Awakens.
Uh,
Probably Exorcist.
oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
That movie will never be topped as far as horror movies go, just because of the stuff that happened around it.
Hmm.
And in fact, in my opinion, it's the only good horror movie ever made. I don't like horror movies. I think they're dumb, but that one's good.
Yeah, it's a great
Um,
movie. Yeah, that's true.
and it's because it's not like scary. It's like screws with you, right? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
if you, the first time you watch that movie, if it doesn't mess with you for like a week, you have an unbelievably strong mind, because it'll get in if you really sit there and watch it. It'll get in there and mess with you.
Oh yeah, and it was one of those movies that truly had a physical effect on people. People fainting and having hysteria and stuff like that. It was legitimate.
Yes.
It wasn't an act or a big show. That it was really hit people. Now, of course, I understand that for a younger audience, you go back and look at Exorcist and you say it's not nothing, but you got to take into the context of when it came out, right? Because it was
He also
something.
plays the Emperor in Dune.
Yes, he does.
That's
He plays a
yeah,
bunch of stuff. We're gonna get into it, dude.
and yeah. So like people, if you don't know who the guy is, you'll know if once you start to kind of look into him. This dude has been around.
Oh yeah,
He was in many movies. Very few where he plays like the straight up like leading man, but he plays memorable characters that stick in your head.
yeah.
And I guess Ming is probably the most memorable.
Well, for me,
He
it is.
literally, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, he's so iconic. I mean, he just embodied that character. He looked like the character from the comics. So, I
he
mean,
did. He did. And it's like we talk about Sid because he passed away recently too, and he did some really cool stuff that a lot of people didn't realize when he was younger. And of course, one of the
yeah,
things about I haven't looked at his filmography, but I know he's been in a bunch of westerns. But we're talking like Christopher Lee level of movies, right?
oh,
163
yeah,
acting credits, right?
Hmm.
Let's take a
yeah.
look here. Let's go down this to the bottom of this list and jeez, let's see. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. And so let's see here. He was in some European stuff, which makes sense. He is European. Let's see the first thing that. Rabies the movie. All right. The Magician. Through a Glass Darkly. Ooh, that's a good one. Let me see here. If you guys just go ahead, if you see anything, you can pop it out that catches
I
your
did not
mind.
know he played Jesus in the greatest story ever told.
Yeah,
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 he did.
yeah, yeah. Let me see here. The Kremen Letter. That's a good one.
Mm.
Let's see. The Apple
Hour of the
War. That's
Wolf.
a
I
cute
liked
one.
Hour of the Wolf a lot. But yeah.
New Land Embassy. Of course, Exorcist. Steppenwolf. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Look at this list of stuff. So much more than I thought. I don't know most of it though, to be fair. Footloose. Oh goodness. Death Watch.
Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian, which we'll get to that in a second. Strange Brew, of course, already mentioned. Never Say Never Again, a pretty good flick. Soldier's Tale. I mean, God, look at this dude. A bunch of European TV shows.
There's another one that
Mm.
that you haven't gotten to yet, but you're almost there.
Hmm.
Is Minority Report.
Oh yeah, and
In fact,
Minority Report. He's pretty good
spoiler,
in
he
that.
plays the bad guy in that movie.
He
Um,
does. Yeah.
and it's great. It's a great performance actually
Oh yeah.
from him.
That's right. Citizen X and Judge Dredd. He was cool in both of those, dude.
Hmm.
The Depth of Solitude. Jerusalem. Oh goodness gracious. Uh, The Princess and the Pauper, a TV one. That's interesting. He played Solomon in a TV miniseries. He was in Solomon. He played David. Oh wow, dude. So he played old King David. That's interesting.
Mm.
Um, Minority Report right there. Great flick. Tom Cruise. He's kind of like this just flat line for me in most movies. They're usually entertaining and therefore it's good enough, right? But
Hmm.
Minority Report was a pretty good one, dude. I like
Yeah,
that
that
one.
was probably for a Tom Cruise movie where he's just playing action Tom Cruise. That was probably the best one of his performances, anyway. Especially, maybe even narratively too. It's a great movie.
It is, and it's a great storyline. It's an interesting idea,
Hmm.
unto itself. So, the concept, Rush Hour 3, awesome. The Tudors, that's right, he was in that show.
Hmm.
Solomon Kane, yep, he was in that one too. Ghostbusters, the video game, I didn't know that. Oscar and the Lady in Pink, don't know that. Shutter Island, another good one. Oh, The Wolfman. Oh, goodness gracious. So he's only in the director's cut, so they cut him out of the film. Damn it, you bastards. Moomin, the French version. That's interesting. The Last Norwegian Troll. Oh, Elder Scrolls. He plays Esbern. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yes. Yeah, Old Man Esbern, one of the last Blades.
Of course, Game of Thrones, Force Awakens, whatever. The Simpsons. Now he made it when he's on The Simpsons, and he plays Klaus Ziegler. All right. Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, a video game. The Command and Echoes of the Past is in post production, so I guess that's his last film we'll see him in. Anyway, whatever your favorite Max von Sydow film is, the dude has been around and he's done a lot of really cool stuff, and I appreciate him for sure. And what I wanted to do was leave maybe one of his most iconic scenes that I think a lot of people appreciate. So let's take a look at it and screw the copyrights. I don't care. Go ahead.
All of King Osric, the usurper. Once a powerful Northman like my lord, but now old and sodded.
You know what you've done? Why, Rexar himself has come before me, threatened me, the king. What daring! What outrageousness! What insolence! What arrogance! I salute you. Thulsa Doom. I've chafed for years at this demigod. Snakes in my beautiful city. To the west, Nemedia Aquilonia. To the south, Koth Stygia. Snakes. Everywhere, these evil towers. You alone have stood up to their gods. And what are you? Thieves. Have you seen this? They call it the fangs of the serpent.
Arnold's acting his ass off here.
Yeah, he is, dude.
Father's heart of his very son.
And you notice everyone just shut up. They didn't say a word.
Has
has fallen under this Thulsa-Doom's spell. Is there a dagger such as this in her hand for me? She follows him as a slave, seeking for the truth of her soul, as if I could not give it to her.
Jeez, this looks like a monologue you should have done, like when you're auditioning. This would have been easy to do.
My daughter travels east to Thulsa-Doom and his mountain of power. She is
Trembling lip.
his. Steal my daughter back. Take all you can carry. There's more. There's much more. Enough to become kings yourself. There comes a time, thief, when the jewels cease to sparkle, when the gold loses its luster, when the throne room becomes a prison, and all that is left is a father's love for his child.
Oh, freaking. Yeah, claps. Freaking awesome, dude. So Shakespearean. Max von Sydow, man. But I kind of wish the clip had cut in a little bit earlier than that, because, where he asked where her friends are, she says the lions ate them. And he says, and then they walk in Conan, and he's like, the lions ate them. It was. It's so
I always
cool.
wondered about the casting of Valeria. She's
Yeah.
she's not that great of an actress,
No.
nor is she like that great of a beauty. It's just
No.
like I don't know what Golden Gold was what they were thinking. It's just
And it's
okay.
another thing too. Valeria would never be so greedy as to dive at falling gems. Conan would backhand her if she did that anyway, right?
Yeah.
No, he would, dude, for sure, right? So but she was some kind of weird amalgam anyway. That movie's not truly Conan anyhow, but it's still a great
No,
movie.
he doesn't look like Conan either. Like that's always bothered me. He doesn't have black hair. It's not straight cut. He doesn't have the volcanic blue eyes that
No.
supposedly he had. Like, I mean, I'm like, why didn't they, do the makeup? But
Yeah.
and somebody said, Schwarzenegger said it impeded his performance, and I'm like, okay.
All right. Well, and he's also too short, really. Conan's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
mountain of a man, because now Arnold's a big muscle guy, but he's not particularly tall. I've actually met Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm
Is he
taller than he
6'2"
is.
or is he 6
No,
foot?
he's smaller than me. Yeah, I'd say he's about 6 foot, 6'1" maybe. I don't think so. But I'm definitely taller than him. And I'm not tall enough to be Conan, right? But it doesn't
I met
matter.
Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was pretty tall.
He was, yeah.
He was at least 6'2", 6'3".
But I do love the movie. I think he did a good job. But the Valeria thing does bother me. And I get why they went with her instead of going with Bellet, because she'd have to be naked the whole time, which I wouldn't have complained about.
That would have been fine.
I'd have been fine with it. But you do have to keep in mind that Valeria is supposedly Conan's second great love, right? I don't think in the stories that there ever was a love close to Bellet, and when he lost her, that kind of broke him. And the writer did a good job, I think, after that with the further Conan stories of showing that he never truly loved deeply again. That was a really cool consistency with the writing, actually, because that was his only real love was Bellet. But anyway, we're getting kind of nerdy on the Conan there.
Off in the weeds.
Off in the weeds. But that was awesome. Come on now.
Yeah. Props to Max. Props
dude.
to Max.
And people are talking about their favorite things. Of course, we had to mention with you with the Brewmeister Smith from Strange Brew. That's right. For some reasons, I think of Needful Things. Oh, there you go. My dad introduced me to The Seventh Seal. That's not a bad flick, dude. Best role was Ming. Yeah, I agree. He was amazing, Ming. The Lions ate him. That's right, Dave. Victory. He was great in that World War II soccer game. Yeah, soccer movie. Yeah, no, you're right. That was good. That had.
Yeah, Victory's a great film.
It is. It has. Now who's in that? You got Sylvester Stallone.
Pele.
Yeah. Freaking Pele.
Pele was in it. Yeah.
Was it Paul Newman or? Who was
No,
the other
I
guy?
don't think Paul Newman's in there. I can see his face, and I'm
Michael
blanking on
Caine.
the
Michael
Michael
Caine.
Caine.
Thank you very much, Todd. There you go. Todd came in to save the day. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I could crush your head like a nut, but I won't because I need you. The King, the Ghost of Christmas Present, played by Max von Sydow. That's right, he did do Christmas Present, and he was awesome. And that dude he's kind of almost like Anthony Hopkins' level of gravitas. He's not quite. But I don't think anyone's quite Anthony Hopkins, to be fair. But just when he's on the screen, he owns it, right? And that's
And
impressive.
a great
Uh,
actor who didn't like that role is too this for me or that for me.
Yeah.
He did all kinds of B movie
Yeah.
roles and
Yeah.
didn't matter.
yeah, he did. He was a working actor. He didn't, he'd take whatever job he could get and kept working throughout his career.
Yeah.
Dave Asanowitz says the Milius was in love with Valeria's actress, I guess. So that's why she got cast.
Oh, I see. It's okay. I kind of just look past it. That movie is, if you're a diehard Conan fan, it'll irk you a bit. If you're not, then it's just a cool, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because the thing about Arnold, he's not the greatest actor, but there's just something about Arnold. You can't take your eyes off him. You love the guy. He's one of those people you really want to love, and it didn't really matter much, but I would love to see someone do an actual Conan the Barbarian. It would be really cool, but I don't know if we'll ever get that.
Yeah, Hollywood doesn't want to do that much testosterone ever again, I don't think.
Maybe not. Yeah, but because they did a remake with Momoa there, and that
Yeah,
was an atrocity, dude.
well, I don't have a problem with his performance per se. It's just the execution of the film. Yeah, I
It's
think
one
he
of
was fine.
he was. I guess I'm not going to complain too much about him, but Jason's another person that you kind of just like. But until you touch talking about his activism, whatever. But the thing
Yeah,
that caught me about that movie is how empty it felt. It just felt
yeah,
empty, right? And
yeah,
if you read any of the Conan books, often he's moving amongst huge crowds of people, right? Many
yeah.
of the
Like
stories take
they
place
did
in the
not.
depth of a city. Yeah.
They didn't pay for the stuff that they needed, and they relied a lot on really bad CG. Um, it didn't work as well as it could have.
Yeah.
The girl who was in it, actually, she was quite attractive. I can't remember
Yeah.
her name right
She
now, but
was. Yeah.
I they missed a real opportunity when they did Red Sonja with what's her bucket, the big Swedish gal, and
Stallone's lady.
not making Schwarzenegger a Conan, so it was just Conan and Red Sonja.
Yeah.
That would have been, but well, Hollywood again.
Yeah.
And that would have been a great for the trilogy. So you'd had the really B movie of
Guys, I'm going to
Conan the
make you feel
Destroyer.
old real quick. I
Yeah.
literally had never heard of this Victory movie before till you just mentioned it. I just looked it up.
Well,
That's
you
a
need to
great
go
flick,
watch it.
dude. Go watch that movie. Yeah.
Has the greatest soccer player ever in it.
It does.
Pele.
That's right. But anyway, just to finish off with Mr. Sydow, he's a great actor that impacted a lot of people, and condolences to his family. Of course, he's 90, so it's not like a lot of tears are being spent, but safe journeys nevertheless. Good Swedish-born
Indeed.
actor who really embraced the West, and that's cool.
Nick C says in the next Conan film, Belit will be played by Amy Schumer. Take that, Chester.
Oh, dude, screw you, Nick. God, man.
Also, the name of the woman who played Red Sonja was Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah, Bridget
Totally
Nielsen.
slipped out of my head.
Yeah. No, it was intended that they were going to do a Conan thing with that, but they ended up not doing it because of some kind of rights issue. So they just put him in there anyway, because they wanted to. There's no way that movie would have made any money at all if it wasn't for him being in there. Bridget Nielsen she was okay, I guess, but in general, the movie kind of blows,
you
man.
just said that. You just said that woman was okay.
I'll
That
talk
was
about
a
her
terrible.
acting. I'm talking about her acting. She's a
That was
hottie.
horrid. No, I'm surprised you gave her that much credit,
Well,
considering what's.
yeah, I know. I just don't want to be too mean about it. It is kind of a fun little flick to watch. The only thing it really takes you out of the movie the most, because when she and Conan, or it's not Conan, but when she and Arnold are on the screen together, it's fine. It works out pretty well. The problem is the little Asian kid playing the
Yeah,
prince, Harry. What's his name? The
I don't
little
know.
he was in every damn movie playing the Asian Karate Kid, but he was just annoying as hell. That was a big mistake putting him in the movie. And you had Reyes Jr. was
Oh,
in there as well.
Ernie. Yeah,
Ernie,
Yeah.
Ernie.
that's right, Ernie. That's what it is, Ernie. But yeah, no, let's not get into that. Anyway, that's that. So we've lost Max von Sydow, and we lost Kirk Douglas this year too. So quite a year of these old heroes going out. But if you
And I'll
haven't,
take the ages that they both. I mean, you'll take 90. I'll take 90 any day.
oh yeah, I'll be surprised if I make it past 70.
No doubt. My family isn't long lived, so
Oh,
you know,
mine is,
I
but
make if mine is not. So
yeah, but I
I'm my oldest relative is like 84. That's about it.
I have so much damage on my body, dude. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Too much fighting in strip clubs.
Man, when I was younger, I got a lot of stitches, dude. I've actually had my intestines hanging out, dude.
Only bitches get stitches.
What?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
How did that happen?
bar fight. You know.
Did somebody cut
rub
you
it out.
open?
And I didn't even know it till I was like walking down the street and I fell over and what the hell? And I looked down, my intestines are hanging out, this trail of blood. Luckily, my friends came because they were going to do a drug deal and I didn't want any part of it. So I said, drop me off here. But the problem was I stepped out and went into a Puerto Rican bar. And being a bouncer, I know what a fight sounds like. So I heard it start on the other side. So I put money on the bar, and I just go to walk outside. But this little Puerto Rican jumps in front of me and is chatting away like a chihuahua. Next thing I know, I had broken his arm and thrown him over the bar, and I didn't know why. And I just got out of there. I walked down the street. I fall over. He had hit me with a knife. That's why I reacted so violently to him. But my friends had come back at that time and they picked me up, put me in the car. My friend had a Mercedes with a white leather interior, and I was bleeding all over, and he was just bitching the whole time. But they put me in the
Just
hospital.
about you get blood all over.
Right.
You got blood all over my car, you son of a
God
bitch.
damn it, man! But the thing is, they put me in a gurney. They took clamps and they clamped me shut. I don't know if that was a good thing or not. And I sat on that gurney for the longest time. And eventually, a nurse came by and I was like, what's going on? Well, how long am I gonna have to be here? Because I was feeling cold and I was looking blue. And she said, "Oh, well, they're flying blood in from Boston." Because I'm O negative, right?
What?
I'm a RH negative. Yeah, I was in New York City, by the way, and they didn't have my blood in all of frickin' New York City. They had to bring it in from Boston.
You're O negative. You're what?
I have very rare blood type. Yeah.
Jeez, man.
So I almost died that day. That was a close one. I've had a couple close
You,
calls, but
you can give blood to anybody, but you can't. You gotta take blood just at your own. That's
yeah, I
it's
know.
kind
Yeah, it
of
sucks.
sucks.
It does suck. But yeah, that was a close day. That was a pretty close day, but I got the scars to prove it. I mean, just all the way across my abdomen, dude. I got a
Wow,
bunch of
dude.
those things,
Shit.
dude. This has nothing
Shit.
to do with comic books, Slick. Let's
Still a great story.
I guess it sucked for me.
Chester, how do you have 27 notifications, or 22, whatever that says, notifications on YouTube?
I don't know. Where's that?
Sorry, I just noticed that in the tab there, and I'm like, that is a lot for YouTube.
Where?
The bell up in the top right. There you
It
go.
says 9.
Yeah, but if you look at the tab, it says 22 when you're not. See?
Oh
Eric
well.
Hawkins says, what I heard was after being cut, Chester strangled the guy with his intestines, then made some chitlins.
That's not what I said at all. I did pop that guy's arm though. I remember very clearly, and I didn't know why I reacted so violently like that. Of course, because a lot of times, shock and damage to your body, you don't feel it, right?
Hmm.
It's so sudden, and I didn't feel that at all. There was no pain. Well, at the days after, certainly. You ever had staples? You ever had a dozen staples in your body? That sucks a lot, let me tell you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not fun. But anyway,
So does
No.
moving
so does
on.
barbed wire. Barbed wire is not fun either.
No,
All right,
no,
moving
no.
on. Max
Yeah,
wanted to see
I
those
got a
dead.
barb. I
Besides
got a.
that, what we got to
It
say?
does. I got a Bob Wire story. I'll tell you someday too. That sucked. Anyway, rumor. Amazon's Lord of the Rings fires entire writing staff. Season 1 put on hiatus. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I wonder.
Depends on how they're writing. If they're writing woke material, that's a great thing. If they fired them because they're not writing woke material, that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
No, it was woke material, from what I understand. They were writing very.
But then that's a fantastic thing.
yeah,
They should check them all. Not only fire them, they should, find a nice large, catapult and catapult them skipping out into the sea.
yes. Launch
Chester,
them.
maybe you know the answer to this. What is a Tolkien scholar? How does one get that title?
There
Probably from
is
Cambridge. Yeah.
there is also I can't remember where Christopher Tolkien's. It's here in the U.S. But one university has all of the basically everything that Tolkien ever wrote. It's stockpiled there. It's not at Cambridge, and there is you can get a doctorate in Tolkien studies there.
You
So
can. There are a couple universities that do that. You're right.
yeah,
Yeah. So there you go. But
learning Elven and all that other shit. Yeah.
yeah.
I love Tolkien as much as anybody, but that's ridiculous. That's
Well,
just
but
ridiculous.
actually, Tom Shippey, I know this guy. I know his name he is quite famous as a Tolkien scholar, actually.
Hmm.
Which that actually worries me in this article because I wouldn't think he would be woke at all, but yet he left the project. So you know what I mean?
Hmm.
That worries me actually, because this dude's the real deal. But yeah, they don't really. This is a rumor thing. They don't have any information really. Who knows if it's even true? But it is worrying. It is possibly worrying. But then again, maybe not. It could be a sign of things to come because we have noticed a little bit of pushback against this get woke go broke stuff. We have seen it, and I'm kind of wondering if we're starting to turn that corner. You know?
Oh, we
Well,
are.
we'll see. I would hope, especially because I don't want Tolkien getting messed up with it. I mean, we've lost too many franchises as it is.
Yeah. But then again, with Star Wars, you have the New Republic books that are coming out, which of course will be made into movies, I'm sure, because for some reason Disney just doesn't want to do the Old Republic, even though everyone's telling him to. They got
I
these
don't.
new books that are super woke, and we had one of the writers of the book come out yesterday and say we're definitely going to have a lot of gender nonconformity in the books. It's like, have you ever even watched Star Wars, you bastard?
Yeah, this is why I don't want them anywhere near the Old Republic. I want them to forget it exists. In fact, I want them to decanonize the entire thing and pretend it never happened. Just it. I don't know. I don't. When somebody mentions it, I want them to go, "What? What? Like you're
Okay, I
speaking Greek?"
get you. I get you.
I
I
don't
get
want
you.
them anywhere near
I
it.
get you. Yeah, I get you. But I mean, it's like Star Wars just doesn't have sexuality in it. It's not. I mean, even when you have the kiss with Luke or Han and Leia, it's there is a touch of romance, but it's barely. It's almost like generic in its way because it's not about that, right? And this crew that is putting together these new books, which of course a media will be built around, one of the things they had on the board, one of the first things they had on the top of the board was no pro-war. Let me repeat that. This is Star Wars we're talking about, right? This New Republic thing. And at the top of the board, one of the first things I wrote down, number 3 was diversity, by the way. But number 1 was no pro-war.
It'll just be all activism and drinking coffee.
It's called Star Wars. It's called Star Wars. I mean, it's shocking how stupid they are, dude. But anyway, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with this. The problem with this article is there's probably some truth to it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be out like this. But it's either one way or the other. It's either they're pushing back against the wokeness, or the people leaving, like this guy, Shippy, is leaving because of the wokeness. So it could be one way or the other. But I don't know how you take Lord of the Rings and wokeify it. How do you do that?
Well, you diversify it for one. You're not gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get a black Gandalf. Um,
A black gay Gandalf,
yeah, he's
obviously.
definitely gonna love penis in his mouth. Definitely.
Oh
Um,
God.
you do that, and then you throw in gay, a whole lot of gay. Just there'll be gay everywhere. We get gay dwarves, gay orcs. It'll just be a big gay orgy down there in
And all
Mordor.
the orcs will be white.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Somehow, so that won't make any sense, but we'll just all have to accept it because otherwise you're racist and bigots.
Well, they were
Um,
complaining that the orcs, the Uruk-hai anyway, were racist because they were portrayed as, I don't know what, blackish,
I
Yeah.
know they're ridiculous.
because they're not human, but I guess that doesn't matter. But I don't know, Todd, save us.
Well, what do you want me to save you from? Because he just ranted and rave about how it's going to be gay orcs and goblins and dwarves. So I don't know if there's any saving you from that.
That's true. It is fair. But it really feels to me like Lord of the Rings is one of those things that you shouldn't mess with, though. It's kind of like the Bible. Yeah.
They
Mhm.
have. Hold on.
Just you wait.
Family has a lot of say in this, right?
You would
Yeah,
think
I mean,
so. You would think so.
Christopher Tolkien and I would think his progeny probably have a lot to say with this, but that might maybe why people got fired because
Maybe.
Christopher was very protective of the project,
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, we have to thank him for the Cimmerillion, which I absolutely appreciate. Um, then again, Tolkien probably would never finish that thing. I almost wonder if the Cimmerillion was more just his kind of notebook for his overall concepts, and his son turned it into a book. But I do love the Cimmerillion. But anyway, yeah, I just don't know how you mess with Lord of the Rings. I mean, do keep in mind that in the 20th century, in the English speaking world, I get it. Lord of the Rings was voted the number one book of the 20th century. Now, understand that in the 20th century, more books were written than in the entire history of mankind. Mm, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, you need to show a bit of respect to that. You can't be messing with that. That's just one of those things.
Let me remind you, these types of people are the same people who made a gay Jesus and put that
No way.
and
Where's
then
the
put
gay
that
Jesus?
on Netflix as if it was acceptable, and
Huh?
then wondered why their offices were firebombed in Brazil. Well, Christians
Amazon's
might have been a little offended.
Amazon's doing Lord of the Rings, not Netflix.
I'm aware. I'm aware of who's doing it, Todd. You're not
Yeah, but
listening
see,
to me.
but that's a good
These
thing,
people
though.
are broader than just one platform.
Yeah,
They're
no, you're
everywhere.
right. You're right.
Everything they touch. Look what they've just done to Doctor Who, where they retcon the entire history out of the series.
They did.
It's gone.
They did. David Tennant no longer was a Doctor Who. Just keep that in mind. He never existed. Yeah, the bastards. But I understand what Todd's saying, and I agree. Amazon has been nowhere near as bad as Netflix, dude. Not even close.
I don't know though. I mean, have you guys watched this new show, Hunters?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I beg to differ.
Well, do tell,
What
sir.
didn't you
Do
like?
tell.
Are you familiar with the book?
I don't care about the book. I care about what they did on film. That is extreme propaganda.
Amazon
But
Prime,
that's
right?
Yeah.
It's actually really
No,
good.
I would say Tolkien is probably their holy grail. They know if they can corrupt that, they've won. There's no coming back from it.
Well, yeah. If they can screw that up, I mean, I'm just waiting for them to do something cool and show on Caligon the Black or something.
All right, so we got ourselves an Al Pacino. All right. And it says, inspired by true events, Hunters follows a ragtag team of Nazi hunters in 1977 New York City, who discover that hundreds of escaped Nazis are living in America. So what are they? This is the Jewish Mossad. They're basically Mossad.
Well, I
Right.
mean, it,
And
what they're
and it
basically
turned
saying,
out.
what they're
Go ahead.
basically saying, the inspired by true events is debatable. Yes, the Mossad didn't go do things, but this isn't necessarily Mossad that's doing the stuff in the story. What they're saying is that the Nazis escaped not to, down to
Argentina.
Argentina and Brazil, but escaped to America and infiltrated
Hmm.
the government and
Well,
all
it's
the
called
levels
Project
of
Paperclip.
society.
And
And
exactly what it's about,
well, no, they
Project.
used Project Paperclip, but okay, Project Paperclip. Um, not all of those guys were Nazis. The Nazis. They were just people like Werner von Braun.
They were
They were
German
Didn't.
German.
scientists. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get
they
you.
were German. All
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Uh, but here's the thing: anybody who had even the stink of that now in this story is just a Nazi, no matter what.
I
And so
see.
the Nazis are infusing entirely America's kind of like underneath. There's these Nazis are everywhere. And then they go on to show some pretty silly bullshit. And again, I know it's kind of parody supposed to be, but man, it's pretty, in my opinion, anti-American.
Yeah.
That's my
Well.
Watch
take
all
on
of
it.
it? Did you watch all of it?
Hmm.
Well, I do want to get Todd's juxtaposition to that
That's fine.
here's in a second, but I do have to say that the synopsis here on Amazon it it takes me out of it almost immediately. Inspired by true events. Okay, Hunters follows a ragtag. Well, now you're starting to lose me. Ragtag team of Nazi hunters in 1977 New York City who discover that hundreds of escaped Nazis are living in America. Okay, all right. And so they do what any badass vigilante squad, right? Okay, you lost me. You lost me, right?
It's like it was written for
That's
Tumblr.
hype though, because it's some people that were touched by it and some people that really weren't at all. There's
Well,
like a black female who's kind of like the Foxy Brown, you know, she's the kick-ass woman. She can kick a
She's
lot of
part of the
ass.
FBI. And, no.
yeah. Well, the problem is
No,
there's
no,
not
not
a lot
that
of women who
woman.
can
I'm
actually
talking about
kick
the
ass
woman.
there. It's just that's kind of
No,
Hollywood
no, no.
trope,
If you watch this, you'll be. This is a very good, well played part by this woman. I'm not talking about the FBI cop. I'm talking about
You're talking
the
about the other chick? All right.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah, Todd.
Avro.
I've had plenty of women who
And
thought they were badass, and they just grab them up
there's
by the nape of the neck. They ain't nothing, dude.
it doesn't overplay the women. There's women in this, but it doesn't force it down your throat. It's not a woke written thing.
Okay.
And there's a guy from
Like I said,
No,
Warehouse
I
come
would
on, come
beg
Project.
to
on,
differ.
Slick. Let him get it
It's
out.
not slick. Come on. Everything is woke. There has to be women in a movie, right?
I don't care
Or
about the
anything.
women being in a movie. What are we talking about
Yeah,
here?
So,
that's all right.
so the
Let
material
let him
isn't
finish. Go ahead. Go ahead.
written. Material is not written at all woke wise.
Okay.
The women are part of it, but they're not even central to it.
I
It's
was just
about a
joking
kid,
about the women. I don't care about that. I was
right?
just
It's
just
about
kidding.
a kid and his involvement. Well, his connection to this guy he really doesn't end up being connected to him, but he thinks he's connected to him and his grandmother. But his grandmother was connected to this guy. I don't want to give it away because central to what this whole thing is about is Al Pacino isn't who he appears to be. You know.
Oh,
So
I
in case
see.
people want
That's
to watch
interesting.
it, I don't want to give it away. But he's the financier of this group, right?
Okay,
And
so
it's really go ahead.
well, no. So what we have is two takes. We have someone who, with Todd, who seemed to enjoy it, with some cool twists, and we got Slick, who thinks it's a, activism. Is that
Well,
a correct?
that's just I would say activism. I think there's there's an undercurrent subtext to it that I do not care for its message.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things these days are very anti-American. It's kind of like a normal thing now. So,
They're the
Well,
only they have two shows that deal with Nazis. Like there's one show on there, I forget what it's called, but it's like the Nazis won the war.
yeah,
World
it's
War
the
yeah,
II.
Man in the High
the high
Tower.
tower. Yeah.
Right. And they
I
have
can't.
this show. So at least they're willing to do stuff because most places, most studios don't want to go or near the Nazi thing.
Yeah. No, to be
And
fair,
this
Amazon is nowhere near as woke as the other ones. That is true. That is true. And I've also noticed that Amazon's been kind of dragging their feet. They're kind of waiting back, staying back, and letting Disney and Netflix bash at each other, because these guys are the richest guys. They have the money, but they've been really subtle. Had been holding back. They just opened their video game division with a new world coming out, and it looks spectacular. So, Amazon is slow playing this, and I'm kind of curious in the long run, is that going to be the winning move? Or are they just coming out of the gate too slow?
Well, people forget that Bezos is legitimately one of the smartest men in the world.
He is.
Uh, he is basically Lex Luthor. If Lex Luthor was real, he'd be Bezos.
He even looks like
And
Lex Luthor.
yeah, and he knows what he's doing. I think you're right. I think he's outplaying all of them. I don't
Yeah.
know if the other show was going woke or not. I'm just saying I know. Unfortunately, I've seen how these people operate long enough that I know what they want, and they want Tolkien. They want it
Okay.
bad. They wanted The
Okay.
Witcher, just like they wanted Star Wars. They got them all. They got Doctor Who. They got all of them, and they murdered them, killed them, killed the
Yep.
franchises in most cases. They want Tolkien. And the reason they want Tolkien is because it's been an agenda of theirs to change our culture for decades now, because that's how they win. They know if they can change the culture, they can change the politics. There's a reason why so many young people in this country are pro-socialism and pro-communism now. That didn't just happen because, we started teaching about it. No, propaganda is why that happened.
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
it.
Chester,
Yeah.
I just left you a link in
Where?
the Discord. It's in the Discord, and it is to Twitter, but it shows you the first. There's a whole bunch of clips from the show, but it shows you the first scene of the first episode, and it'll kind of give you the flavor of how things will proceed afterwards. And there is in my opinion, there's a bit of silliness to it. So I guess maybe it is supposed to be parody. Maybe there's supposed to be a little bit of comedy to go with that, but it's really dark comedy.
Don't you remember that
that
him and his friends started dancing in the amusement park? There's a
Where
lot of
where on Discord did you put it?
in the
in the general.
yeah. There's even a
Oh.
part where they do this like game show kind of introduction of everybody.
Gee,
That's made me think
this
this
is really something.
Tarantino feel. It's very brutal.
Well, it is very brutal at many different times. I just there's an undercurrent that it did not sit well on my literary nor cultural palate. But I mean, if you like it, that's no problem. I mean, it's something for everybody.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. Yeah, now that whole thing with Charlottesville, I thought was what a debacle that turned into because, whether you would get into the questionability of the driver and exactly what happened with that girl getting hit, aside from that, the thing that caught my attention about Charlottesville was the fact that Trump come up after and he says, "Look, he denounced, neo Nazis and white supremacists. He denounced all the bad people, and he says, but look, we need to calm down because there were good people on both sides as well as bad, right? And they just never shut up about that. They still talk about that. And it's like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? What are you doing? But anyway, this doesn't look like the type of thing I'd be interested in anyway. But
Give it a chance because this is if you like brutal material where things are like you're getting you're not getting the sugar coated version. See this game show right here? That was the Alex Trebek looking guy. That is a game show called "Why Do We Hate Nazis?" and they go through the top 10 reasons why they hate Nazis.
No, it's why do
It's
we hate Jews?
Jews. I'm sorry, Jews, and that was fucking funny.
Oh, I
It
see.
was
So it's an Elseworld, it's an alternate history, whereas America is very anti-Jew. I get so
yeah.
it's a bit of a parody because that's the opposite, seeing as the Jews control everything.
It doesn't portray Jews badly, by the way. That's not what this does. But there's funny moments in here to play along the stereotypes.
I see. All right. Well, whatever. But I guess I'm starting to see what Slick doesn't like about it because you can only be laid on so long of how bad and horrible white people are until you start reacting to it. And one of the things that really bothers me is these idiots that come up and say America was never great. It's like, dude, read a damn book. Read a damn book, right? Anyway, let's come down over here. Let me see what else I have to talk about. Here's another rumor. And this one I think is more comic book based, so let's get back into it. Thundra to make MCU debut in She-Hulk.
Oh, my sister.
Yes, please. Yeah, your sister, exactly, right? That would be cool, dude. But the problem is, we know we're not getting actual She-Hulk. We're getting this new She-Hulk that is a steroided out lesbian, right? We know
Yeah,
that's what we're
you
getting.
can look right there. It's She-Hulk right there with Thundra.
That's the right.
And that's unfortunate. I mean, because if they gave us the real original She-Hulk, I'd be really happy about it. But it's very clear we're not getting that. Matter of fact, the girl who is writing it is the same girl who wrote this horrible new She-Hulk, and she's already been chastising the fans for not liking it, and it's not even
Oh,
close to
yeah.
coming out,
Well,
right?
Thunder is like super feminist, but the old stories I've read of her, she's actually kind of fun because it was kind of tongue in cheek. The world dominated by women instead of men, and then she comes to our world, and I actually liked the character back in the
Yeah.
day, but I don't know what this generation's gonna do with her.
Well, she's a bad guy. She's a villain. So, I mean,
Yeah,
but you know how what they do like to do with villain these days and make him the good guy, especially because she does have that kind of feminist touch to her. I'm sure she'll be the good guy, and she'll twist She-Hulk to her, and she'll be her lesbian lover. I guarantee it. Who wants to put money on it?
uh, no, that's too much of a sure
That's a
thing.
steep
So I'm
bet,
not gonna
dude.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, this should be happy news though. Cool. We're going to see She-Hulk thrown down with Thundra. That would be a good fight. It would be a good fight, right?
yeah,
Especially if it was like early in the film, like in the very beginning of the film, where we are introduced to She-Hulk and she just fighting and getting this real knockdown fight at the very beginning, and then we do a little bit of flashback and you see how we got there, how she became She-Hulk, and then the real plot starts. That would be awesome way to start the movie, dude. But they
yeah,
won't do that.
yeah.
They won't do that. It'll be about cooking shows and
Yeah.
sitting down, eating food, and talking about their feelings lesbian kisses. I guarantee it.
Yeah, these women don't really know how to write good adventure stories. They just don't. Like I was listening to Fourth Age the other day talk about Anna Senti when she was on I guess this thing was Sana Amanat, and
Mm.
she basically gave a master class at how to write comic books, and Sana Amanat just was like, yeah, that's great, and that sort of thing. They don't know. They don't get it. They don't get it when a mistress of the art comes and tells them this is how you do it, and they just kind of ignore it.
Well, it's because they are the ones who are pushing the life brand, and the life brand they're selling is the woke life brand, right? They're not
Yeah.
actually wanting to write comic books. Now I'm not, I'm well aware, as all of you are, that there are plenty of good books coming out of Marvel. There are still good books. There's great art. It's not all bad. By far, it's not
No,
all
no.
bad. There's good stuff. We're talking about a niche thing, and it seems like it's starting to roll out a little bit. Now, I don't know. I still don't know what I think about what they're doing with the X-Men, but it's at least better, I guess. I have to wait and see. I'm still a little up in the air what I think about what they're doing with it, but I'm not upset with it, right? But
Yeah.
so it's shrinking, and that's a good thing. But it's just these kind of nonsense, portrayals of these characters. Now, do I think that they can't come back from this and be repaired and redone in the future to be improved? Sure, but I think we've come to the point that it really feels like to me that Disney is like, yeah, we don't need to worry about that comic division. We got the IP, just lease that out because we're already seeing it. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's a crazy thing to say that Marvel Comics division might shut down. I really don't
Yeah,
think
they
it
might
is.
just farm everything out. I mean,
Yeah,
there's already stuff over at IDW,
that's
so I
right.
mean,
There
Well,
is.
but do you know what it is, right? You're not going to say it's the top shelf books, right? You know, it's kid stuff, right?
It is kid
well,
stuff.
I
It
The
is
I,
reason
kid
for
I
stuff.
that,
get what it
It
is, but
is.
that's
Yeah,
just a sign of
there's a
things that
reason
could come.
because there's a reason it's over at IDW. IDW has a sweet deal with Scholastic Books,
they do. Yeah, and and and
so
and I don't have
Marvel
a problem
doesn't.
with that, Todd. I think what we're saying is potentially could be that because we've heard other rustlings beside that. So
But it's yeah. You're hearing knuckleheads who think they're gonna forecast the future because oh my God, comics are dying, and they're just going to close DC. First off, they never close it; they would sell it. It would always be broken apart and
Yeah.
sold
Well,
for anything.
that's a
So
good point you
the world
make
doesn't
because
work
there have been
the
some
way we.
serious articles, Todd, talking about DC being put up for sale and potentially Marvel buying or Disney buying it. That's
Right.
the weirdest thing I've ever heard, but there's some legitimate articles talking about it. I mean, can you imagine Disney owning both?
That would kind of suck.
It would. And what would
Actually, considering Disney, I can really imagine that.
yeah, but what do you think would happen? I think it would be a dissolution of DC more than Marvel, don't you think?
Well, for a while, for maybe 10 years or so, you get some great things that you could have never have gotten before without
Maybe.
it,
Yeah.
right? You know, and people that would fight against each other that you never would have seen, you know, and it would all happen very fast. Not that that would read or bleed into the movies, but it could birth some movies, you know. You
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it, man. It's we'll have to see because we don't know. We're just getting rumors, just like this is a rumor, but we do know who's writing it. She's already out starting to blame men and starting to put out that nasty Brie Larson stuff already. And I don't even know how far we are away from getting She-Hulk, right? But she's already doing that. And the people over at Marvel, who Feige we know now is in charge of everything, he's not shutting her up. So either she's not being reprimanded for it, or she was simply given the green light to say whatever she wanted, right? And she's come out and said so. She was coming out talking about the how South Park is a horrible she because a horrible thing and yada yada yada. But this girl hates men. She hates men. And now you can't say that's the same for everyone. Like Sana Amanat, she actually obviously has an agenda, but I don't think Sana hates men. However, right? Gail Simone, she has an agenda, but I don't think she hates men. Kelly Sue DeConnick, she has an agenda, but I don't think she hates men particularly. But this girl, I can't even remember her name, but this girl that's doing She-Hulk, she hates men, just straight up. So, and you giving the reins of a movie, a freaking Disney Marvel movie, to someone like a hater like that? Really? Interesting. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I agree with you actually entirely. I don't have anything to say on that. But that's just the way we are today. So
It is. It's just bizarre to me. Anyway, South by Southwest has been canceled amid looming coronavirus threats. We talked about Emerald Comic Con was canceled a few days ago. Now South by Southwest. I actually saw this news a couple of days ago, and everyone was pulling out of it, so they just went ahead and canceled it because all the big names were gone from it. So this brings up. I'm not going to get into this article because there's no need. It's the same thing we talked about before. You had so many people pull out so that they just kind of just shut it down. And oh well, it's the year. But the next bit of news is really the one I want to talk about because it looks like E3 will be canceled too. Now E3, of course, is a video game centric thing over in California, Los Angeles. I do believe, and I watch it every year. I enjoy it. I'm a video game guy. But so many people have pulled out. So many of the big companies have pulled out, including Kojima and Sony, and a lot of people have pulled out of it. So it looks like it's not official, but it looks like that will be shut down too, and that's a big deal, right? E3 shutting down is bigger than South by Southwest shutting down for damn sure. I mean, that's a ridiculously huge event, right? I don't know if it's quite the size of the Comic Con in San Diego, but it's close, right? But because of that, as you see here, a new Xbox Series X info could come next week. And it sounds like that's what we're going to get because if you come down here and look at this, the scheduling they have here, they have some normal things, panel talking about the industry, Microsoft Game Stack, yada, yada, yada. But you see that they have, they're talking about their new projects scheduled. So seeing as they're not going to E3, they've already announced it. Xbox will not be there. So even if they don't cancel it, they won't be there. No one will be there. So we might well be getting the full details and full information on the new Xbox. Now I don't know how much that excites people, but where's the picture? Oh, they don't have one here. But it's very different looking. Let me go see if I can find it. It's actually like a tower. It doesn't look anything like a console. There it is. No, I just saw it. No, okay, go back. Right here. Yeah, once again, where's the picture? It's the same article I have, but they don't have the picture. That's weird. But you guys can see it right here. Let me see if I can get the CNET one. We'll show it. There we go. All right. Here we go. So it's very different looking. Now, how many gamers do I have on here with me?
Not me.
I don't care about Xbox. I'm completely honest with you.
Well, that's fine.
Xbox
That's fine.
lost me a long time ago, man. And they're going to double down on it this generation. It looks like they're going to get, they're going full. I almost guarantee you they're going to either go full cloud gaming or mostly cloud gaming.
I think so.
People
Yeah.
don't want that. People just don't want it. They don't want it in America where the internet sucks. We don't want it.
Yeah. It's really
Maybe
sad.
Microsoft should invest some of their billions of dollars in fixing the internet in America, and then maybe people will want it. But right now, we don't want it.
Yeah, it's really sad actually because I know I live in a particularly bad area for things like that. My internet isn't great, but I live in a little teeny fishing village. As soon as I get over the mountain, though, you're getting. We've had 5G for years and years and years, right? And we have had LTE for I don't even know how long, and I can use LTE. I just don't want to pay for it, right? But I have it. But I mean, if I use it, it's good. I have a limited amount a month, of course, and I usually leave that for my kids to burn, right? As far as the new Xbox is concerned, I don't know what all these things mean. 12 teraflops sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. But the only thing that caught my eye or my ear from the little rumors and little information that's come out about the X series is that there is actually dedicated audio chip this time. And that might be a good thing. Yeah. But this is a pretty serious thing. The problem is it's so beefy that I don't know if they're going to be able to sell it for less than $600. And with that tag, how many people are going to spend $600 for a console though? When you could just go buy a computer. Just use Steam, right? I mean, I got a $2,000 rig sitting here. I got myself up in here with my video cab. I got a Zotac, right? A what is this? A GeForce GTX. It's like I don't know, 1,200 or something like that. This is a beast, right? So if I'm going to spend that kind of money anyway, just go get yourself a badass computer, right? And just play on Steam. So
you can build a pretty decent computer for $600.
Oh yeah, dude.
More than enough to play games. The problem is well, with Corona raging, it might not matter. They might not be able to sell them, period, because there might not be any ports open at the rate it's going. I mean,
yeah, they wouldn't start selling this till Christmas time, I would assume. But as far as the announcement, yeah, I get what you're saying. That's a fair point. Coronavirus is definitely going to cause some serious economic problems. But I'm just saying it's kind of getting to a price that could be troublesome because of course, 2,000 is far more expensive than 600, sure. But there is no game that is currently out that I can even start a Citizen that I cannot play on full ultra mode. Nothing. And that's only $2,000 to do that. I mean, when you think about it, because I've been buying PC desktops for forever, and 2,000 is dirt cheap for the machine I got sitting in front of me, man. So I don't know. I think they're starting to get into ugly territory, and the Sony is going to be comparable. They always are, right? So I don't know, man. They might have to take a loss on this on these boxes if they really want to put it out there.
Oh, they always do.
Yeah.
Pretty much every console generation, they take massive losses on the hardware and they make it back on the software.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know what half of this stuff means either. And I've been gaming my whole life, so they're not speaking a language they should be speaking. Tell me how fast it is. Tell me what a teraflop means to my gaming experience. This is a bunch of jargon designed to get gullible people to be like, see, it's so powerful. They'll start talking about ray tracing. They don't even know what it is. They have no idea what ray tracing is, but they'll say, see, look, it's got all this, man. It's so great.
Well, that's actually the only thing there that catches my attention, though, Thundera.
Yeah, it's just marketing jargon, really.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's Microsoft, again, being so terrible at the one thing they should be great at, which is selling their hardware. They're horrible at it. They've been horrible at it since the first Xbox. If it wasn't for Halo that came out on the first Xbox, there wouldn't even be Xbox
It's true.
because they're so bad at selling their hardware. They always
Yeah.
have been, and they probably always will be because I don't know. Gates doesn't care about it. I don't know. I don't know
Microsoft.
why.
Well, yeah, Microsoft. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's a fair point. PlayStation's always done a better job with that. But I don't know. It's just interesting. I just thought we'd have a mention of it. But anyway, let's see. Do I have anything else to talk about? I don't think so. I think that was the last of it. Pretty sure. Yeah. All right. Yep. Oh no, we did have one more. I thought so. Yeah. So we're going to end the show on a not happy note, or possibly a happy note. It depends. But this is a bit ridiculous. Avengers Assemble and the librarian's producer, Jeffrey Thorne, describes Republican Party as death profiteers. Now, this caught my eye, and I put it up here because it's irksome, right? First of all, do you really need to put modern day politics so directly in your face into your stories? Do you really need to do that? I mean, Stan Lee did political stuff, but he couched it, he hid it, he made it a more subtle statement. But this is right in your face, which is what they do. But the thing is, when you talk about the Republican Party as death profiteers, have you not been paying attention? Because really, the ones screeching for war right now are the frickin' Democrats, right?
Mhm.
So what exactly are you on about? I mean, clearly you are confused, sir. Clearly.
Mhm.
Although I do like the librarians. But yeah, I don't know. Marvel Comics Fantastic Four writer Dan Slott. F you if you vote for Donald Trump. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, it's just Trump derangement syndrome in overdrive. He completely broke them because he wouldn't apologize to them. It's all it took was one person to just not apologize for saying things that hurt their little feelings, and they shattered. They've all melted down. Even ones people you hear people tell you all the time, I thought he was a reasonable liberal, and then he started calling me a Nazi. Like, no, these people are they have no business running anything. We see that with going on mainstream television talking about how Bloomberg can give everybody $1 million for spending 500 million on his campaign. These are the type of people we're told constantly by them we should shut up and listen to because they know
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Well,
Right?
look at this
Republicans or right
absolute.
wingers,
Yeah, no, but look at
and
this
they
dripping desperation, Thundero, from Dan Slott. Look at it. This administration is not on top of this emergency. Really? He closed the country quicker than pretty much any other country, and he is as with most things with Trump, he might get up there and talk and do the things he does. But the smart thing in Trump, the reason why he's been one of the most successful presidents we've ever had, is because he lets the experts handle it. That's what he does. Trump hires experts, and they either deliver or they get fired. That's Trump. That's his success. He hires the best people for the job. They've ignored or contradicted their own experts. No, they haven't. They have not. I've been hearing this nonsense come up. Trump did not say there's no problem. He says he hopes there won't be. He was trying to be positive. He was trying to be leader-like. But in the same breath, he says there could be problems and we're going to face it, but I hope it'll be all right. I hope it'll be low. We responded quickly, yada, yada, yada. He never
it's
said
so
anything like that.
it's so
You know what?
because if he had said, "Oh yeah, this is going to be real bad. Everybody get ready." He's causing panic. He's trying to cause panic, and people are going to die. That's where they would have taken it. So
Yeah.
he was damned if he did, damned if he didn't.
That's
There.
true.
So what he did is he
Here's
talked
where
to
else.
people to try and keep everybody calm.
Yeah.
Because panic isn't going to help anybody.
True. Go ahead, Todd.
Here's where I'll stick up for you because he did do that with the borders and gave out like advice, like this is what we should do. And there are progressive places like San Francisco that didn't.
Yeah, of
Mhm.
course not, because they
No,
do the opposite of what he said.
they decided we're not going to do that at our airports. We're not going to take your advice. So it's progressive places like that that are allowed people or well, it would have happened anyway. This is a flu. It's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. You're you're not gonna combat it by closing your borders to people because those people leave here and have to come back, don't they? They
Yeah.
go on a business trip, and they have to come back, and now they're bringing it here. So that's not how you do this. You get your researchers and your doctors on it, and you get to a vaccine as fast as you can.
That's
That's
right.
the best thing
And
you can do.
they put money on it. They're building up supplies for the situation, which I don't agree with the Democrat era, Obama era stuff of let's leave everything out until we need it. It's a money saving option. I don't agree with that. I talked about that the other day, where I think countries need to have their own local production of things, where instead of letting China build it all, because it's a problem with the fact that they're doing that. But anyway, let's
Yeah,
continue
they
here
could
with
decide
story
they could
time with
kill us
Slot.
all.
Yeah,
They could
right.
decide they could kill us all if
That's
they
right.
wanted.
They could. And that's not a good thing, because China is an evil empire. People are dying. Yes, we've had a single person die in America, Dan. You're right. That would be person has died, not people are dying, Mr. Dan Slot. Doesn't he write
I think 14 people have died, but even that's
in
not that bad.
America?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of
Oh.
them are in one nursing home.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Last I heard,
In
there was
Seattle.
one. All right, so he's correct. And Trump went golfing at his resort again and profited off of it. How? How? These aren't opinions, they're facts. Oh, well, not really, Mr. Slot. These are not factual statements you're making here. Who in good
Because
faith could support this man in November? A landslide of people, Mr. Slot. A landslide.
here's what he's talking about by him profiting. Because everyone who goes with him, the press corps and all that, they all stay at a Trump hotel because he golfs on his own courses, and then he makes money off of the
Sweet.
people
I love it.
staying.
That's
I mean,
perfect.
it's,
That is perfect. Good on you, Trump. But I have no trouble with the way Trump has handled the situation. He's on top of it. He tried to be positive and stuff, but then he also step back and let the experts do the thing they do. Right? That's what he does. He does that well. And I don't know how you complain about that, because I've heard a lot of these Dan Slot types, CNN and things like that, sit there and just throwing out the most ridiculous comments. Trump is not in charge of anything. He's backed up and let the people who know what they're doing be in charge. He always does this. He never stands up and says, "Follow me, guys." Somebody does. He's like, "Yeah, you get out there and get that done." That's Trump, right? Now, you might not like him, you might find him offensive and all that, and I wouldn't disagree with you. But this dude has been radically successful. Radically. Right? And I'm shocked by it. I didn't expect it. I really didn't. The only thing I wanted from Trump was one thing: to put a constitutionalist on the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court is out of control and they need to be reined in. Right? And he has gone so far and above my expectations, I'm baffled, to be honest with you. I'm completely baffled. He's literally turned in to be one of the most successful presidents we have ever had. Now, I wish he was more statesmanlike, like Reagan was, because you take his policies, which are similar to Reagan, which, and I think he tries to emulate Reagan, and then you put the statesman level of Reagan on top of it. That's one of the greatest presidents we ever had. Right? Because, Reagan, when he came in, I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to remember this, but he went under the same knife that Trump did. They attacked him. They came at him with everything, and Hollywood actor going to be the president. They just came at him so hardcore. But in the end, he won because he turned them all to his side. He was one of the most popular presidents worldwide we've ever had, right? He was beloved outside the States and in the States because he used his charisma and his presence to turn it. Trump can't do that. He just can't do that. And that's the only really major negative I can say about Trump. Does anyone want to jump in on that?
he's just
Well,
not a very good speaker, and that's unfortunate.
I don't know if that's the case. I don't think he's a polished speaker. I think he's actually a very good speaker because he speaks to the level of his base,
True.
and they just eat it up.
Yeah, he's funny
However,
too.
And he is funny. I think he's as funny a president as we've ever had. And plus, he's off the cuff. He is not a teleprompter guy. He just, unless he does something kind of official, he's a teleprompter. But most of the time, he's just riffing it. And here's the other thing that I think people tend to forget. A lot of people call him stupid, like on the left.
No,
He is
dude.
not stupid.
He is
He is
slick.
angling. He is angling those people. He does these things to elicit their reactions and to get them just incensed so that he can do stuff underneath the table, or he's waving at them with his right hand while he's doing shit with his left hand.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
And they fall for it over and over and over. The
Every time.
media, the left of of academia, the left of the government. He's doing the misdirect. Misdirect. Look over here. Look at the shiny bauble. Look at me being a complete asshole. Look at this, and he's doing shit over here,
Yeah,
and
he
they're
is.
just not seeing it until he pulls it out of the hat and says, "Look what I just did," and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, and then he slams them and he puts them in position that they don't want to be in constantly. I mean, I
Hmm.
love the whole thing where they were going to do the impeachment, and they brought up that just nonsense, threats or challenges to him, and he said, "All right, fine." He just basically unclassified the document and just put it out. Like, here you go.
Right. He doesn't play it
It's
like
just-
a politician,
no, he
like
doesn't.
a dyed-in-the-wool politician. He plays it like a hard-nosed businessman, and they don't like that.
Yeah,
It really stirs them up, and I think he's going to win. I mean,
I think so too.
I could
Yeah.
be wrong, but I think he's going to win. And again, like there are a lot of things to call him out on. There definitely are. He says stuff, and I'm just like facepalming. I'm like, dude, come on,
Yeah.
But there probably is a
The
method to everything
results.
he does.
The
Yeah.
results, dude. The results. And Dan Slott is just bent right out of shape, dude. It looks like someone must have responded to him or something like that because he came out reprint what he said and says, "I'm not effing saying, I'm not effing you for voting for him. I'm saying F you if you vote for him again." Well, dude, you're in for some major disappointment. I really hope you don't have an aneurysm, Mr. Slott, because this guy is going to landslide it because it looks like the Democratic Party is going to screw Bernie again, which is good. He's a freaking communist. And they're going to put old Joe Biden, who's obviously has Alzheimer's coming on or dementia or something. And it's sad. It's sad. It is sad. I've never cared for Joe Biden, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But dementia is
Yeah.
obviously setting in on him. And this is what you're putting up against Trump. He's going to tear him apart, dude.
Well, yeah. Whatever happens in those debates coming up, they're going to make for must see TV.
Yeah, right, and it will be for sure. And of course, Jeff Thorne here is continuing, and he's talking about his book, which this whole article is about. Of course, white supremacists, sexual predators, and their sympathizers, deaf profiteers. So basically, the Republican Party. Once again, sir. Let me keep I'm in my mid level here because there's more to read, guys. And I do apologize for going over time, but I'm sticking with it. This fella right here. This is who we're talking about. This guy, right? Now, I'm sorry that you think that, but the facts are not in your favor, brother. They're really not. Because let's go one by one. White supremacists. First of all, show me one. Line them up.
Well, just white people in general.
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying because he's a bigot. He's saying white people is what he's saying there, and that's what they always are saying. There's not white supremacists. They're white people, right? Sexual predators, dude. Republican Party, really? The Democratic Party holds that title 1,000 times over. The liberals are far more sexually aberrant than conservatives are. Please, right? Death profiteers, once again, you are the party that is standing behind all of these big businesses, Wall Street, sitting on top of Silicon Valley. That's your boys. Those are your boys. And they're the ones profiting off of people's death. They're the ones that are profiting off the slaves of China. They are doing that, right? So everything this dude says is literally the opposite of what he thinks it is. And I believe he believes it. I think he believes these things are true, but they're not. They're literally not true, right? And of course he's writing comic books. Yay! Listen, white folks who aren't losing your shit about relatively minor demographic shifts in America. Oh, relatively minor. Really, you're going to go from 63% majority white to a Latino white supposedly by 2050. That's a minor demographic shift. Okay, can you please check your brethren who are freaking the f out? We, by definition, can't influence them, and they're poised to burn this country down rather than actually share. Dude, this guy is a bigot. He's a racist. He's a full-on racist. Listen, white folks, and he's writing for frickin' Marvel. I'm starting to get
Yep.
pissed off, dude.
Minor demographic shifts. You can actually find this out there. There's people who've done charts, like active GIFs and videos that show From 1964 or 65, when the immigration was changed from basically first world to third world, which is what we've been bringing in large quantities since then, you can see Hispanics went from about 3% of the country, Latinos, Hispanics total in America, to now they're at about 40%, roughly, give or take, depending how you parse the data. That's what, 70 years? So in less than 100 years, if it happens by 2050, like you just said, which it probably will, the demographics of this country will change majorly, not minorly, majorly, from a vast supermajority of white people, over 90% in the 60s, to 90 years later, they're in the minority.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
That's
absolutely.
not a minor change. That's major change.
Yeah. And, to be fair, though, in America, it's the place for it to happen. I don't like that it's taken place in Europe as well, especially when you get people on European TV in London and other places like that talking about how they're breeding out the whites and proudly proclaiming it. And then when you have someone say, hey, that's kind of racist, that's kind of horrible, they get labeled as hateful Islamophobist or something like that. And what's this thing with frickin' POC? Let me ask a question here. Todd, what is your nationality? I mean, not your nationality, your ethnicity, please.
White.
Yeah, that's bullshit. What's your ethnicity, dude?
I'm Italian, French, and Irish.
You're Italian, French, and Irish. Thundera, what's you?
Well, I don't know, but I'm a mutt. I know I'm Austrian Swiss on my father's side, and I'm a big old mutt with Native American on my mother's side.
Okay. Slick?
I'm
You sound like a Polak, right?
No, I'm mostly English and Danish.
I'm just kidding, dude. And I'm a freaking Norwegian. And Irish, right? Now, I don't know what you might think, but that is a diverse group of people right here. We are not white. There's all different kinds of white, right? And so, what exactly is this POC crap? And LGBT, first of all, you make up 4% of the planet at best, and that's being very generous. It's probably lower than that, right? Especially when you get the glam fashion kids off of it, right? We are happy to tolerate you. For most of us, are happy to tolerate you, but that does not mean we accept you. So back up. You don't get to make decisions for the other 96%. You don't, right? We get to make our own decisions for ourselves because you know what? We are the majority, and might makes right. I don't care if you like it. That is the reality of it, and we're not going to sacrifice our shit for your shit. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Because otherwise you just get shit everywhere. Nobody wants that.
That's right.
We want shit everywhere. But the reality of it is the hilarity of this is that I'm assuming, that was a picture of him, I'm assuming, so he's a black man.
He is.
Gay people, let's just stick with gay people for now, go pretty much anywhere other than white countries, as he would call them, where white supremacy rules, and see how well you're treated. Just about anywhere else in the world. Like 95% of the rest of the world are going to treat you terribly or kill you for being gay.
Oh, my, absolutely. And try to be a black person and go live in China. Have fun with that.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, because they can't stand Africans, dude.
Your sob story, John Wayne had this exactly right when they asked him a way long time ago what he thought about the Civil Rights Act, and he said that's fine, but a lot of these people need to understand their history and realize that even then, there's not too many places where they would have had it better than living in America, even under those conditions. They live, and the conditions are way better now than they were then for pretty much everybody. Everybody needs to quit bitching. Quit your whining. If you live in America, you won.
Yeah. No, I think it was Sammy Davis Jr. that made that comment right long ago, and I've heard people use it more recently too. But I'm pretty sure it was Sammy Davis, where he came up. He says, I'm happy my family was put on that boat because otherwise I'd be in frickin' Africa. He didn't say frickin', right? But I mean, look at this thing. They're indifferent to our military. What's wrong with our military? You don't. I hate this anti-patriotism. You should always support the military. They hate POC and LGBT people enough to burn the country down rather than stand on equal footing. Show me any shred of evidence you have for that, because the only people who are burning stuff down is you and yours. That's right. As long as Trump's screwing them, where has Trump screwed them? He has done more for the the POC, as you call them, than any other president. He certainly did a whole lot more than frickin' Obama did, because Obama did nothing for you. Nothing,
And in
right?
fact, one of the main reasons you're seeing white identity politics become a thing more and more in America and all over Europe is because people like Trump do all these things and bend over backwards and try and make friends, and it's still not good enough.
Yeah.
So a bunch of young white guys are like, you know what? Screw that. How about you give me stuff then? Because why shouldn't you be? If there's no reciprocity for their goodwill, then why should they keep giving you goodwill?
Yeah. Well, we're definitely not talking about comic books now. Well, we are,
I was
technically.
gonna say that. I was gonna say, wow, we're way
Yeah.
away from.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I'm triggered by this ass, because he continues by saying, as long as Trump's screwing them, he could shoot his wife on the White House lawn, and they wouldn't think, they wouldn't blink. Now, why do these guys, these SJWs, why do they always use violent representations in their analogies? They do. If you pay attention, they do it all the time. I mean, because could you imagine a conservative come up and using an analogy like that? No, we would never do that. But yeah, they do it all the time. What's up with the violence here, Mr. Writer? Um, Pretty sure you're lying again. Your guy supports white supremacy. No, he doesn't. You have zero evidence of that. Matter of fact, this dude, like I said, with the black people, but also with the LGBT, I'd never understood why they're always making noise about him. He's done a lot to help them, support them. He's also the only president I've ever seen on stage holding a rainbow flag. I've never seen any. Obama didn't do that, right? And lied to keep himself from having to fight for his country. What? What are you talking about? There was no draft in his time. God, you idiots. We already have a shitbag Russian agent in the White House. Why would we elect another? Um, uh, why? Oh God, fine, all right, fine.
He might literally be the worst Russian agent of all time,
I
considering the
know
fact
he's
that while Trump's
really.
been president, we have done more violent escalation and warfare against Russian
Yeah, I know.
forces than we've ever done since like 100 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. It's all nonsense. And Avengers Assemble. Yeah, don't read this crap. Don't have anything to do with it, because this is an idiot. This is a moron right here. And yes, I'm calling you, Jeffrey, an idiot. If you don't like it, you can send me a message, and I'll be happy to do a live broadcast with you. And trust me, you haven't even seen me go, dude. I will take the fucking hell out of you, dude.
Uh,
Unbelievable.
this is what worries me more than anything. With this corona happening and the stock market plunging because of it, because everybody's selling. If that doesn't correct soon, it will actually become a recession.
Yeah,
And
I think we're
they're
what.
already trying to blame this on Trump somehow,
Well,
as if he has any control over a global virus that started in China.
right. Well, they're so excited about the fact that the economy could implode. That disturbs me right there. But I don't. I think we're far away from that. It could happen, of course. I think globally, an economic turndown is guaranteed, simply because of the halting in production and shipping and stuff like that. But the American stock market is so overblown. It can take a major hit. If you compare what we were under Obama, it's almost as if we're a different country economically. So we can take a hit for a while, actually.
Well, it's lost, let's see, about 6,000 points, so trillions of dollars in value have been lost in the last week.
Let me see.
It was, I think it closed like 23 and some change today from 29 like a week and a half ago. So it's
I know it had a spike back up to
good.
27 for a while, though.
Yeah, but then it dropped 2,000 points today alone.
Okay. Now this
Which
is to be expected. Yeah, here. This is to be expected. Yeah.
So it's not that I don't know. It'll really depend on if they're able to pin this on Trump, which it's completely not his fault. When people try to do that, it's ridiculous, right? It's obviously not his doing. It's this virus and the stockbrokers and things freaking out about it, which they may be right to do. We don't know yet, but it's just it could bounce. It could even bounce back. Then you also have the gas price or the oil price being slashed by Russia and OPEC, Saudi Arabia, really. They're really trying to trigger a recession right now. The reason, and it's just so convenient that it happens to be this year, TFT talk. That would be the only thing that I think they could actually beat Trump. If they get an actual full-on recession going with this nonsense, then he'll lose. I don't think he'll get reelected.
That's
Why do you
possible.
think he'll lose because of that? Why would that be?
Because that's his main accomplishment. I mean, you can just look right there. If you go from the time Trump was elected, literally the day after he was elected, the stock market shot up almost straight up on a graph
Yeah,
for like a year.
You got to think a low point was 8,000, right?
Yeah.
And we're sitting up still at 24. So it's there's a lot of fluff in there, dude.
Yeah, there's a long way to go, but I'd say if it gets under 20, you could probably declare it a recession because it'll be hard to recover that much of it.
Well, I don't see
It's
how
possible.
we're going to escape that though. Simply because of the halting in production and stuff. I don't see how you're going to get around it.
Which is my point, which is why I think he's in more trouble than people realize.
No,
If
I
he
agree.
loses, it'll be because of that. It won't be because of he's a Nazi or blah, 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 blah. Middle America doesn't care about that. We simply don't care. What we care about is if our retirement funds dry up, right? They're gone. They're destroyed by a stock market crash. We care about if our housing prices tank because of a stock market crash. We care about if we're paying $3 or $4 a gallon in gas because of a stock market crash, right? That's what Middle America cares about. We don't really give two white hot craps about whatever nonsense the coasts are pushing every other week about how Trump is evil and he takes 2 scoops of ice cream and that's bad for some reason. Nobody in the middle of the country cares about that, and that's where the election's won or lost.
Yeah, I take 3
So
scoops. So
yes,
but
so that would be the only thing that worries me about him losing. But for me personally, I'm fine either way, whether he wins or loses, because what I want politically is far more radical than anybody else here. So
no, sure, maybe. But I personally would just go be buying General Mills stocks because Charmin is the ticket.
it'll be the only thing in the recession that grows. They just take over the whole economy.
Right.
Everybody just bought toilet paper the whole time.
It is so weird, dude. It is so weird. It's like the last thing you really need, right? But whatever.
I mean, if it really came down to it, you could use your hand and then wash your hand.
You
If
could.
it push came to shove,
You could.
you'll be all right.
Okay, so there are more, which I expected there would be. The death toll would go up. I didn't know that. Thank you very much, Eric. Where is Booster? Dan Slott blocked me. Yeah, I'm sure he blocked me, and I never even spoken to him. 22 deaths in Washington, 2 in California, 2 in Florida. Is that Washington State or D.C.?
Washington State.
State, okay. I just agree with Chester. It's 50-50. The last election proved massive fraud during the recount. There's been quite a bit of fraud, and there's been quite a bit of Russian dealing as well, Nick. And on the Democratic side, you're right. You're absolutely right. Trump has had nothing to do with it, but the Democrats certainly have. They've been wheeling dealing with Russia for quite a bit. I mean, look how much money Hillary Clinton made off of Russia, right? So there is a Russian connection. I do agree. It's just not a Trumpian one. He's a way says Chester 2020. There you go. But anyway, there you go. A comic book political conversation at the end there. But come on, Jeffrey's a freaking moron. He's a moron, and he's writing comics. He's writing Avengers. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? Right? And he's using it to bash people he doesn't agree with, which is at least half the country. Right? Wonderful. Good job there, buddy. Good job. Right? And Dan Slott really needs to take a frickin' chill pill, man. There's a blast from the 80s for you. Oh, goodness gracious. But that is all we have for today. We definitely got a little sidetracked, but fun as well. Fun as well. Safe journeys to Max, and of course to his family. He will be remembered, and I'm sure a lot of people will be watching a lot of his films, so that's a good thing. And a couple little bits of good news in there today. It wasn't all bad. So, Todd, do you have anything you would like to tell the folks?
Sure. We can rail against what's bad as far as comics, DC Comics, Marvel Comics, but if you don't really go into like a search for good comics, then hit me up. I'll push you in the right direction. You got Carlos Gomez, who's done a bunch of European comics, whose style is a lot like a refined Bernie Wright's, no, Barry Windsor Smith. You got Matthew Lafray, who did Long John Silver, which is exquisitely beautiful.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for things to spend your money, stop buying that frog book and hit me up, and I'll point you in the right direction. I'll hit you with
Oh,
some links.
yeah. I agree. I agree. And even Marvel has some good stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, I'm definitely letting Thundero end the show with his namaste because I can feel the political rage in the man. So I'm going to let him. I'm going to let him end it. Slick, sir, give me your final word.
Well, it was good talk. There's a lot of different topics we covered today.
Hmm.
I'd like to say that I'm going to be doing a stream myself in about 20 odd minutes at 9 o'clock MST. The Cheesecake Challenge, which will
Nice.
be themed. Jack Irons gets a little sugar. So
Ooh.
yeah, that. If you want to come in and check that out, that would be great. If you want to be an artist on that, hit me up real quick, and I'll try to get you get you the link. There you go. My book's also in demand. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, that reminds me, Slick. Someone out there, one of you artists, really needs to draw the bear with Sugar Lightspeed rubbing up on him, desperately in need of my gentle touches. Yeah, someone's got to do that. Get that done. Who was it? Was it Matt Weldon who drew me? Put my head on friggin' Randy Orton. That was awesome, dude. I
You
clapped him
you
for that.
you're having fantasies again.
Shut up.
Uh, but we can accommodate.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it'd be good. It'd be good. That'd be perfect. It would sell. It would sell. Anyway, thank you guys very much. Do keep in mind that tomorrow, of course, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Bugbear's Basement, where we will be talking about video games. I do believe is what we're doing tomorrow. Because on the 17th next week, we're going to be starting the new campaign with Comic Book Bob running, which is going to be a lot of fun. That's much more of what is Hellboy's team called, Todd? The BP what?
CD, BRPCD.
Something. You guys know what I'm talking about. But the game is going to be
We're
kind
we're,
of
we're
that.
the BTFO. That's what we are.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. But it's going to be fun. But tomorrow we're talking about video games, though, and I think Thunder is coming back to have that conversation. Hopefully, we'll get Booster out of bed and be able to have him involved too, because that's definitely a conversation for him. So come back for that.
It's tough on Booster weighing those tomatoes.
Yeah. No. I know that. He's not going to be very consistently here until he's done, but that's all right. Uh, he needs to get out there and make his annual money, so it's all good.
Make his ends.
Hmm. So anyway, thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, and of course, we're going to let Thondero rant for about 15 minutes. Go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna rant. I'm done ranting. I'm ranted out. I'm
Are
gonna
ya?
actually try and leave a positive message,
Come
a very
on.
positive message for everybody here.
You're full of shit.
Here's what we do.
No, I'm just kidding.
Everything's going to hell all around us.
Yeah.
It's all on fire. Everything's fire right now. China's dying, literally, thankfully. I mean, horribly. It's coming here to America. It's starting to hit us. We've had some people die, some older people mostly, people who are already sick. For some reason, toilet paper is now gold. I don't know why. But the reality is, even in this situation, when everything seems to be going wrong, the reality is happiness is still a choice.
Mm.
And fun, and to have fun, is a decision. And the only way to get them is to decide. So decide wisely.
Namaste.
What?
Later, guys.
Later.
Hasta la bye bye.